Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Mike Krueger, still kind of getting the hang of things here. I am I'm near Truckee. I'm in the Kingvale area, and I am here for state competitions for snowboarding and skiing. I'm here for my son Aiden, to support him and, of course, his team. It has been quite the adventure, and it's been a lot of fun. It was not such a great day for my son Aiden on the hill. He fell both times on his competition, so he didn't do so great. Very proud of him. I think he was quite the trooper and did a great job. In the meantime, many of his teammates, they did a phenomenal job. His buddy, Lucas Scar, I got to mention this, 15th, ranked 15th from all of the kids in the state competition, still did a great job there. So it was a bit of one of those bittersweet type of moments here. I'm going to do this here real quickly. There we go. It's one of those bittersweet type of moments, right, where I was really sad for Aiden, where I was able to hopefully console him a little bit here. But the team, his buddy, his teammate, did an amazing job, and very proud of him as well. So it was a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. And now today is the competition for the skiers, and tomorrow is the competition for the skiers. I'll still be here again tomorrow morning, but back to normal by the time we get into Friday. Well, let's get into the forecast, shall we? Because there is some rain out there, and there is a little bit of snow trying to make its way into the forecast as well. So we're going to start off with the radar. And I had this thing animating here. There we go. And you can see, it looks like the rain just disappears. Well, right around that time is when the radar site went down in Eureka. And so you're not getting any really good representation of what's going on with that rain in that area, but there certainly was some rain. Now, that does extend into Trinity County, and of course now we're getting into other radar sites, but now it's kind of that main band, if you want to call it that, because it weakens as it moves over that coastal range, is over central Siskiyou, is really over Siskiyou County and in the north end of the valley. So it looks like we are seeing a little bit of that light rainfall even for places around the north end of the valley. Now you can see southeast of Anderson is where you're seeing some of the quote-unquote heavier rainfall that's in the area. But it's, again, nothing all that significant. We're talking about, at most, probably a few hundredths of an inch of rainfall once all is said and done. Now you can see some of the rainfall totals as of the last 24 hours, and this is all coming in mainly to the north and west, Mount Shasta, Weaverville, and as expected, the coast seeing most of the rainfall, as well as Hoopa, about 1,500ths of an inch of rain, not as much heading to the south into southern Humboldt County at about 600ths of an inch of rainfall. I think we'll start seeing some totals popping up here later on today in the eastern mountains. But hey, I want to give you a quick reminder that Sunday, March 8th at 2 o'clock in the morning is when daylight saving time begins, and you'll need to set those clocks forward 1 hour. Here's a look at your Krueger's Quickcast for your Wednesday, March 4th. We take a look at those current temperatures out there right now, and it's mild. You know, when you see those clouds really come in, it does warm things up, and it keeps things a bit more on the mild side, well above freezing for many of the higher elevations, which is also one of the reasons why our snow levels are fairly high this morning. They should start to lower, though, behind that cold front. There you can see out the door this morning, yeah, most of the showers are on the north coast. We're seeing a little bit in the valley, but by 8 a.m., most of it will be in the coast, Modoc County, and the eastern mountains eventually getting in on some of that rain as well. So again, you can clearly see that main band really pushing through this morning, the clouds and the showers associated with that. Now, if you look closely, look to the west of us, look to the west of the Pacific Northwest, so west of Bandon, for example, you will see some of those speckled clouds and a spin of low pressure. That is the cooler and more unstable air that's moving in behind the cold front. That is what's going to bring us scattered showers, especially in the mountains. And this, the type of rain that we see today is going to mimic what we would typically maybe even see in the summer months, where you see most of the activity in the higher elevations. So when we look at Futurecast, this is the HRRR forecast model, you'll see by 10 o'clock in the morning, most of the activity is really the heaviest activity north and east, right? But look at the mountains. Scattered showers, scattered snow flurries, mainly above 4,500 feet. But look at the valley. Not much going on, not much in the way of cloud cover either. And that's the case throughout the afternoon. You'll notice most of it's in the mountains and the valley dodging most of it after what we're seeing here this morning, by the way, because we've got that main cold front pushing through. And the winds are going to be picking up behind that cold front. By midday, we're in the 20 to even 30 mile an hour range coming in from the northwest. And I think the strongest winds will be in the valley, but we can also see some pretty gusty winds up to the north in Shasta Valley, Modoc County, and even parts of the eastern mountains. Those winds probably sticking around off and on here even as we go into tonight. Now, we were hoping for more snow in Mount Shasta Ski Park, but that's not going to be enough, is it? So not looking good. Not looking good at all. And there's the chance for showers. That's mainly in the valley. I think better chances for that rainfall as you head into the higher elevations and for the coast. All right, so here's what we have today. Temperatures are going to be cooler. You're going to notice it. It's going to be in the low to mid 60s for the valley, mainly 40s, even some low 50s for the higher elevations, and for the coast, you're in the mid 50s. Now for tonight, noticeably cooler as well. Upper 30s, low 40s in the valley. We're talking 20s and 30s for many of the higher elevations. And for the coast, temperatures are going to be in the low 40s. Checking in with some of you this morning. Good morning to Jackie from Trinidad, saying rain has started here on the coast. As to be expected, there's that chance for showers for the valley. Don't count on much. We're already seeing a little bit in the north end of the valley around Redding, Anderson, Chico, Red Bluff. You're not out of the woods, but your chances are even slimmer for any of that rain here. If you're not seeing it this morning, and if you don't see it this morning, then your chances are going to be even much slimmer going into the afternoon. It's dry and warmer as we go to the end of the week and this upcoming weekend. We've also got Matt Root saying light sprinkle in West Redding last half hour. Doesn't look like much energy on this one, and you are right on that one, Matt. We just don't have a lot of energy and really not even a lot of moisture for us to work with either. So most of that rain has been on the coast and has been this morning. And you can see some of those isolated showers inland and for Trinity County. Now off to the east, or central and east. You can see out towards Mount Shasta, Siskiyou County, off and on chances for showers, 4,500 foot snow levels, 5,000 foot snow levels, that is in Lassen County, and down into Plumas County. So that's kind of what we're looking at right there. So yeah, temperatures are going to be on the increase. Upper 60s, even some low 70s by the time you get into the weekend for some of the higher elevations. All right, that's a look at your Krueger's Quickcast. Let's take a look at some of the cameras around the region and see how it looks out there. Now, we're looking down to the south into Oroville. Doesn't look like we're seeing much rain there, and doesn't look like we're looking at very wet conditions in Chico either. That's looking out at Main Street, Chico on Highway 32. We got Curtis Brown saying, good morning, Mike. Lots of clouds this morning, but no rain. And that's in Red Bluff. So, I think Red Bluff, you can see those clouds off in the distance there. Those are rain clouds. But again, it's been very dry out there. So we've got to saturate the atmosphere a little bit more. So you might start to see some sprinkles, maybe a light shower or two before the morning is over for you in Red Bluff. Let's take you out to the Sundial Bridge Drive on Highway 44 in Redding. And there have been a few light showers in the Redding area, some sprinkles. But again, at this point, nothing measurable, at least based off of the airport rain gauge. There has been some rain this morning up into Crescent City, but looks like we're seeing a little bit of a break there now, even some breaks in the clouds as we look at Crescent City Harbor District. Let's take a look at Bald Hill West. You've got the overcast skies, and we have seen some showers out into Trinity County and even parts of Del Norte and Humboldt counties as well. Soda Ridge is sucked into a cloud, so we're not really able to see anything there. And there you can see some of those low clouds and bringing in some light precipitation even for parts of Fort Jones and Scott Valley in general. Doesn't look like we're seeing much in the way of snow, if any, out towards Lassen Park, but we got those overcast skies there. By the way, I want to remind you that Coffee with Krueger would not be possible without our sponsor at Wind River Resort and Casino. Enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. Once again, thanks to Wind River for your support. All right, so let's get into it. Isolated showers, mountain snow. Don't expect much rain or snow. We're also seeing those winds coming in, though, actually that should say north winds, not south. There are going to be some gusty north winds coming in later today and over the next few days. And then dry and warmer for the rest of the weekend. Good morning to you, and Becky Elliott saying good morning everyone from Reading. Good morning to you, and let's get into our deeper dive forecast for your Wednesday, March 4th. So again, don't be alarmed by the fact that that rain just disappears for southern Humboldt County as it moves onto the coast. Unfortunately, the radar site is down and went down in the Eureka area, hence the lack of rain that it's showing. But there was rain this morning out towards southern Humboldt County, and then of course working its way eastward. Let's take a look at some closer images of the valley, and you can see some of the showers. So Red Bluff, yeah, I think you're seeing some light showers, and I'd say even West Red Bluff for you, Curtis, I think you'll eventually see some of those light showers just off to your west there. And these are just working their way down the mountain. So keep in mind, when you have that cold front, this happens a lot. You see the showers on the coast, you see the showers in the coastal range, and then the coastal range mountains tends to chip away at these showers. But they seem to be able to sustain themselves right now, and that's why we're seeing some light showers working their way into parts of the valley. Meanwhile, we take you up to the north. You can see some of the snow being picked up by the radar, but it's high elevation. It's on the mountain of Mount Shasta. Looks like out towards Scott Mountain Pass on Highway 3. If you look to the south and east of Etna, the county line there of Trinity and Siskiyou, that's right around where Scott Mountain Pass is, and it doesn't look like, I mean, it's borderline. You might be looking at some snowflakes there, but I don't anticipate it to be a big issue. Meanwhile, in Modoc County, you can see some showers in northwestern Modoc County. So El Turris, it's just a matter of an hour or so, you start seeing some sprinkles and light showers working their way into your area later this morning. And again, looking at some of the rainfall totals, mainly to the north and west is where we're seeing the totals. And you can see it's not that significant. Now, the heaviest rainfall is pretty much past for the coast. So for you to pick up more than 1/4 of an inch might be difficult. Right now, we're looking at temperatures low 50s in the valley, 40s for many of the higher elevations, and low 50s for the coast. So again, we look at this satellite image here. And a couple of things I want to point out. Number one, that cold front passing through. So in advance of it, that's why snow levels are really high. Now, behind the cold front, snow levels may lower a little bit, but still not low enough for it to really have a big impact. So I would say maybe down about 4,000 to 5,000 feet behind the cold front. Now, also notice, look to the west of Portland. You see that spin, that counterclockwise spin? That's an upper area of low pressure. It's also got some colder air associated with it, cold and unstable air. This is why we're going to see scattered showers, and the type of rain that we see, and not to mention snow, but the type of precipitation that we see will be what we would typically see in the summer. And that is, you see scattered showers, maybe even a few thunderstorms in the mountains, but the valley tends to stay dry under these types of conditions. So let's take a look at the long range, and once that passes, we're drying out by tomorrow. And we've got more of a north wind kicking in because the area of low pressure is going to dig to the south, to our south and east, and high pressure to our west. We're going to get a bit of a squeeze play, and that's going to give us some gusty north winds for today, tomorrow, and even Friday and Saturday. But by Sunday, that low pressure system dives to the south, and the winds begin to relax. High pressure, the dominant feature, keeping us dry and keeping us above normal with those temperatures. So we look at the severe outlook. This is coming in from the Storm Prediction Center, and this is where they're seeing some of the heaviest amount of instability. Now, I will say this. If we see a lightning strike, honestly, I think I would be surprised, but we can't rule it out as that cold and unstable air begins to kind of move on in. So let's take a look at Futurecast. So you can see, I think it might be overdoing it on the intensity of the rain coming in this morning at 6 a.m. and even at 9 a.m. I think that might be showing a little too intense, but that's where the bulk of the rain will be by 9 o'clock this morning. That's the main cold front. Behind that cold front, look what happens. You see how we're just not seeing very much in the way of rain or snow? This is just going to be the scattered showers, some snow flurries above 4,500 feet in the higher elevations through the afternoon, and the valley will most likely dodge most of that rain, meaning mainly dry conditions. So really not a lot of activity going through this afternoon, but we still can't rule out that stray thunderstorm that could develop in some of the mountains, and maybe just maybe in the north end of the valley, but don't count on it. Then by Thursday, we are dry. We're looking at those gusty north winds. That's the case again on Friday. Forecast model might be a little overly aggressive on maybe some snow, but there is a bit of a what I like to call clipper system that will just clip Northern California, and that may bring a little bit of morning precipitation for Alturas and Modoc County in general Friday morning. By Friday afternoon, once again looking at dry conditions. Okay, if we see any rainfall in the valley, which we are already seeing some this morning, you could pick up a 100th to 200th of an inch of rain. And those numbers for the northwest look pretty good. About a quarter of an inch is a very good possibility, and maybe upwards of a tenth in some spots for some of the higher elevations, but nothing significant. And that's the same thing with the snow. We're not seeing a lot of snow out there. The kind of the darker shades of blue, that's 2 to 4, maybe 2 to 6 inches of snow at most. So it's not going to be a lot of snow. Now there you can see the winds. They are picking up this afternoon, 20 to 30 miles per hour. And I do think as we go into Thursday, Friday, and even to Saturday, we could potentially see some winds upwards of 30 to even 40 miles per hour. So a little gusty at times. It's not going to be a major wind event. This is the type of event that we would dread in the summer, right? Because it would be a dry north wind, but we're still in winter and working our way into spring here, so we don't have to be as concerned about fires at this point, right? Drier than normal conditions as we look at the precipitation outlook coming in from the Climate Prediction Center, with warmer than normal conditions through mid-March. There you can see the temperatures are increasing for Redding up to 80 degrees by Sunday, and then looks like it drops back down in the low to mid 70s after that. Taking a look at the lake levels, the data hasn't been coming in over the last 2 days, so these are as of Monday morning, as we've seen really historical average, and none of the lakes have dropped below historical average so far this season. That's great to see. Wave heights are expected to increase later on tonight into tomorrow, but at least through the day today, no small craft advisories or anything of that nature. However, that may change later on this evening and tonight. Northwest winds at about 10 to 15 knots. They will be increasing throughout the day. Could see a chance for a few showers and maybe an off chance for a thunderstorm over the ocean as well. Here's a look at your Trinity County, your neighborhood forecast in general, sponsored in part by Dignity Health. The temperatures will be in the low 50s for Trinity County. Temperatures low to mid 50s for the coast, and you're dry by tomorrow. 52 degrees for Klamath, 51 out in Orleans, and 51 degrees in Willow Creek. For Siskiyou County, scattered showers, snow levels around 4,500 feet. Don't expect a lot of rain, don't expect a lot of snow. That's also the case for Modoc County, with temperatures eventually in the upper 60s by Sunday. And for the eastern mountains, you're going to be looking at scattered showers, some snow flurries. Again, nothing heavy. Temperatures mainly in the 50s, low to mid 60s for the valley, so it will be noticeably cooler. Now, I do have that chance for a shower in there on Wednesday for today, but for Oroville, Chico, if you don't see any this morning, you probably won't see any this afternoon either. And there you can see we're dry, we're getting warmer, low to mid 70s by the weekend, and then temperatures dropping slightly as we go into Monday, Tuesday, but overall it looks like we are going to see those dry conditions. Taking you up to the north, Red Bluff, yeah, you're already going to start to see some of those showers through the morning, but nothing heavy. Same story for Redding. Temperatures up to 80 by Sunday, which is the morning. You also need to set those clocks forward by 1 hour. Temperatures in the low to mid 70s by Monday and Tuesday. So that is going to do it for our forecast here this morning for your Coffee with Krueger. So glad you could join me here this morning. Let's take a look at what some of you, well, not a whole lot going on in the comment section this morning, but I do see that those of you that are watching, I appreciate you checking in this morning. And we are going to wrap up the show here this evening with, what do we got here? Oh, we got some cameras that we're going to take a look at. And we're going to wrap it up here. Again, just for those of you that are checking in, I'm not in my studio as normal. I'm in my King Vale Airbnb and giving you the forecast because I'm here for state competitions for snowboarding and for skiing. Skiing starts today and tomorrow, and we're very excited. The team has done great so far. The kids are great. I absolutely love it. It's been a lot of fun. I will be here again tomorrow morning, bright and early, 6:30 in the morning. In the meantime, you can check the afternoon. I have the forecast at 6 o'clock in the morning, but then the noon and evening update is going to be brought to you by meteorologist Aurora Murray. She'll be giving you the forecast, the latest updates, so be sure to check those throughout the day as well. And in the meantime, you have yourselves a great day, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Have a great one, everyone.